So today I thought we would talk about this idea of mine about the ego showing up like a histrionic child. It can be like a histrionic child from time to time.
What do you mean by the ego?
Well, what I mean by the ego would be talking about this idea of there being a conceptual mind, talking about this idea of us being spiritual beings having a human experience. I think the human experience is defined by the conceptual mind and all the thought systems that are related to it. I think that the ego is in service to that conceptual mind. It's part and parcel of the conceptual mind. It is the eye of the conceptual mind.
Is it
But it's
thought?
not the spiritual experience. It is thought.
Okay, all right.
It is thought.
We're on the same page then.
Yeah, so thought and conceptual mind and ego, they're all
Okay.
wrapped up together.
All right.
So it occurred to me over the last couple of days, and I think I can't remember who I was working with, but this idea that, when you are a small child, not you per se specifically, but when one reflects upon the behavior of a small child, one can often see how they get very caught up in their desire to play and have fun and to do. So they're preoccupied with doing. And in this preoccupation with doing, they kind of lose sight of the fact that they're perhaps getting tired. And because of their youth and their innocence, they don't realize, oh, I should stop. They're just thinking, I just need to keep going. I just keep on doing, looking for ways to have fun. And I guess in their wisdom, you have seen, or we've had those experiences where you see the kids just sort of drop on the spot, mid mouthful, or whatever they're doing, they just conk out. And that would be the wisdom in the system. I think us parents sometimes we like run intervention at times, think like, let's like cajole this child into having a nap. But I think it's kind of fun to reflect on the fact that a kid will just keep on going. They won't know when to stop, other than, when they finally listen to their wisdom and conk out mid-mouthful. But I kind of think that as adults, it doesn't really change. It's like we get more sophisticated in terms of the doing. Mm-hmm. And I think as adults, it gets to a case of like, maybe, the grass is always greener. I'll get these three things done. And when I get these three things done, then I can chill and then I can relax and life will be peachy. But generally what happens is in getting those three things done, we might not notice the fact, oh, I'm getting a little bit tired. We're not even aware of that per se. We're just like, let's get things done, and we're getting increasingly more sped up. And the ego, in service to that state of mind, is like, no, too right, we're going to get things done, and let's do three more things. Like the ego is like, give me a job, I want more things to do. And so... and then you can see how the histrionics start, is that we get so preoccupied with getting more things done that we allow the ego to rule the roost. And this is where it gets interesting for me. Mm. Because when I harp on about that Einstein quote...
Which one?
The Einstein quote where it is purported for him to have said that the intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a willing servant, and yet we create a society that honours the gift and has forgotten the servant. This is borne out in our human experience when we allow our ego to rule the roost. So without an awareness of which side our bread is buttered, in the way that we get all of our new thought and inspiration from the impersonal mind, the intuitive mind, that's the way that the sacred gift, as it were, that is how Einstein is articulating it. If we are not looking to that as our resource and guidance, in a sense, if we are not allowing that to parent our human experience, then we are going to be left to our own devices, and we're going to start showing up like a spoiled child having a histrionic freak out, because we're constantly looking for things to do. The ego is constantly looking for things to do. And left to its own devices, it will burn itself out at some point. And, at the point where it would burn out, you'd like to think there's probably some spiritual gravitational force taking us back up into our wisdom. But with understanding, we can see, no, there's that resource all along. Here is my kind of parent in a way. Here is the parent ship that I can actually rely on for reinvigorating, reinvigoration, or rely on for me to come back into well-being and balance. So I don't know, that's just something that occurred to me yesterday.
The source.
The source. The secret source.
Secret source. different source, different spelling.
Different spelling.
But I had an experience of that this week because at the beginning of the week, as you know, I didn't feel well. My back hurt. I wasn't feeling good. And I realized that I hadn't been listening to that deeper wisdom and had pushed myself too far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we all do that from time to time. And I think that the thing that's kind of interesting to reflect upon is that, you know, in our innocence and desire to get things done, we can sort of kind of push ourselves over the edge. And when I say push us over the edge, we get kind of sucked into the ego wanting to be in control. And we forget, you know, that there is something called wisdom, let's say, at our disposal, that sacred gift, that will be a much better resource and a much better direction for us to look in. And yet we get more and more obsessed with this grass is always greener. I'll just get these 3 things done, and then lo and behold, there's another 3 things. And the ego is constantly saying, no, let's do.
Well, I think I relate more to your little child metaphor now than I used to, because before I used to do more out of anxiety and fear and insecurity. And when I was thinking back about this week and how I overdid it, it wasn't out of anxiety or fear. It was because I was having fun, but I was just getting kind of caught up in the fun of my intellect and not listening to that deeper wisdom inside.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting how you can be doing something that has fun, but then it crosses a threshold into doing more? Because I may as well do more and get things done, and get as much done as I can at this point. Because it is so fun. There's like some sort of inherent hedonism, I don't know, in play.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like if I'm too much in my head, I forget about the feedback of the body. Yeah. Like sometimes I don't remember to drink enough water, or sometimes I don't remember to eat or notice that I'm hungry. Like I can get caught up in that way, not out of fear or anxiety, but just because I'm too enamored with my own intellect.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? We kind of get enamored with our own intellect. You are honoring the servant instead of the sacred gift.
So this vlog is a good reminder for me.
It
And
is.
it's good to see that it's at least coming out of fun now and not fear.
Yeah, but also the other thing I think is worthy of talking about is I feel like I always felt that the ego is something that has always been demonized, like it's a bad thing. And I think the ego, you know, when we're in a good state of mind, the ego, well, I don't really have a problem with the job that the ego does. It's like, you know, it's getting, if it's my servant, if it's serving that sacred gift, then we're all good to go.
Yeah.
So I feel like the ego is just going to be a reflection of our state of mind in the same way that thought is, and you know, and it is thought.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I think what's really helpful is that reminder to look beyond the ego, to look beyond the I, as you're saying, and to look toward the impersonal, or to drop into that, or whatever language you use for that. But the reminder is to not forget about looking in that direction and getting that fresh feedback from that.
Yeah, because when the mind quiets, the soul speaks.
Who said that?
Well, actually, a lady shared that with me recently. I don't know who said it. This lady, she got it from somewhere else. I haven't found the source. But I believe it is a Buddhist quote that I've been using quite a lot lately, because it says it all for me. Mm-hmm. It's like when the mind quiets, you know, the intuition kicks in.
Well, we can hear it.
When the mind quiets, the sacred gift is available.
Yes. Well, hopefully you have a good weekend.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.